So, in the beginning of the film, we see a bee, that is, a honeybee, flying. And then after getting the habitat from above, it takes it down. They take it to the ground, and after taking it to the ground, they stung it. That means they sting him. Now the scene cuts, and we see the main character of the movie, Julia, who owns a catering company. And Paul, who is his only employee, helps him in this work. Reaching the event venue, Julia takes the phone from Paul so that she can do her work without wasting time. Here Julia meets Flora, the maid of the house, and sees that the musician has also arrived there and is setting up his setup for the night's event. While doing his work, Paul comes across Sydney. The owner's son drinks beer in secret because he is very scared of his mom. Looking at him, it was evident that he was a little deformed, or we can say that he was a special person. He tells Paul that we don't live here anyway. Sometimes he comes to this villa to party. During their conversation, we also see Sydney's pet roaming around in the garden and inadvertently digs a hole at one place, where there was a whole hive of wasps down below, one of which just comes out and bites Paul, and his pants get torn. He gets very irritated and goes to his van and changes his pants. While working like this, he reached the personal garden of the owner where that pet was also present. Well, it was night, and we were shown that the guests had arrived and the party had also started. Many important people had come to the party. Even the city mayor was present. Julia and Paul are busy serving the guests, and in the process, we see that Julia steps on the same honeycomb of the house which the pet had dug up in the morning. Julia didn't even know what she had done, but now the vapor started to flow out from there rapidly. There should be no tension left in the party. That's why Paul killed a lot of wasps. But one such wasp went and sat on Sydney's shoulder, which he killed by hitting it with his hand. Now the Voss was not stopping from coming. The condition of one guest became very bad because many wasps had bitten him at one time. All the guests gathered around him to see him, and then it was shown that suddenly a huge group of wasps came out of the pit, who sat on all the guests one by one and started stinging them. She began to sting him. Whoever succeeded in killing those monsters would be fine, but those who couldn't kill were getting into a big trouble. Its sting was not like that of a normal wasp. This vapor was laying eggs in the guest's body through its sting, after which a horrific scene is witnessed. That egg would transform the entire body of a human being, or we can say that a viscera as big as a human being would burst out of the human's body. And people were dying during this entire procedure, and what was even more creepy to see was that torn pieces of human bodies were seen hanging on these huge vases. Paul just sees a man's body being ripped apart and a vapor coming out before his eyes and is terrified. Paul and Julia see only one way to escape. He tries to run inside the house by covering himself with the table cover. But Julia's body gets lost there when he sees a vapor coming out from a woman's mouth being torn apart. Due to the impact of the ball, he falls down, and the keys to the van also fall from beside him. After completely coming out of the woman's body, Givas stands very close to the ball and gets ready to eat it. Voss's attention was still focused on the woman's face that remained attached to Voss's wing, before this vase consumed Paul. Here Julia comes in and courageously pushes the wash away from Paul and pulls him inside the house. From inside the house, Flora was quickly asking them to come inside, hearing whose voice a wasp tried to attack her too. But before that, its pet came out of the house and the wasp left Laura and went after the pet, and taking advantage of the opportunity, Laura, Paul, and Julia came inside the house. Apart from these, there were only 3 more people in the house. Sydney's mom, and the mayor here. Everyone was scared. Everyone thought it was a terrible dream. But everyone cannot have the same dreams. They had to find some way to survive, but these people did not even have a phone. Then Sydney tells them about a landline in the house. But then we saw outside that a car driver had been attacked by Voss, because of which the car driver loses control of his car and the car collides with the telephone tower and the telephone connection is broken. A horrific scene is shown from the car window, where a human body is being ripped apart and coming out. From the window outside the room in which these people were standing, a living person asks these people to help him. He was requesting to please open the window and take me inside. But Sydney refuses, saying that if you get stung, We will all be castrated. Sydney wasn't a fool at all, as she appeared to them. He tells all of them that even this house is not safe anymore. If we want to be safe, we have to go to the basement and wait for help there. Now these people were making their plan when suddenly they heard Flora screaming. When he ran and saw he was injured by Sydney's mom, it was seen that Sydney's mom was stung, and now a lot of vapor was coming out of her body. Before she can fully exit, Sydney scrambles them away from her, before Wasp kills them. These people quickly go inside another room and close the door. Because Flora was injured, they made her sit in front of the door. Before they can think anything, Wasp sends his sting through the door, where Flora was sitting in front, and this statue takes her life by tearing out her eye and stabbing her entire head. While they were still in the mood of this horrible death, Vast put his other hand through the door and caught Paul. But Paul doesn't let this die. Julia and the mayor rescue Paul by wounding the Wasp with a knife. After saving them, they were running quickly towards the basement when this Wasp started giving a signal and calling all the Wasps towards itself, so that these people can know that she is the Wasp Queen. These people ran into the basement and locked themselves in there. But now the question was, would he remain safe in this basement also? Because now we see movement in Sydney's body. There was something stirring inside the place that was his mutant. It seemed clear that some vapor would come out of this too. Sydney knew what was going on here. He was deformed, and his parents never gave him enough attention, and they were not even aware of his intelligence. He used to do a lot of experiments, and this time he had put a growth hormone made by himself in the fertilizer, and he knew that it was because of this hormone that all these wasps had mutated. Sydney was telling all these things to everyone when the lights went out, and it was shown that the light was cut by vapor because he had a human brain in his body. She could understand the thought. Cutting off the lights didn't help the vapor much. The light here came from a backup generator, but these people got very scared by these actions of the vapor. These people did not know what vapors could do. These people soon planned to leave from here. But how would these people get out of this city? Paul had dropped the keys to the van. Now who would bring it out? Paul takes it upon himself to do this dangerous task. He came out ringing and also found the keys. It was here that he saw Sydney's stomach sitting there. He was about to go to her to save her life. But then a vapor of the same size came out from within him and without wasting a moment attacked Paul. Paul hits the ground to save his life and finds an ice pick with which he attacks the vapor and kills it. This way his life is saved. Here in the basement, one of the most dangerous and creepy scenes is shown where now a vapor is coming out of Sydney's body as well. But why guess Sydney was a deformed human, so vapor didn't come out of his body like normal humans. A small amount of vapor came out from his body. She became deformed, and then that same little wasp took complete control of Sydney's body and mind. Before Sydney can attack Julia and the mayor, Paul enters from the back window performing a stunt like a hero and knocks Sydney out. Sydney was about to get up before he could, so she swung her legs and knocked him off, after which Mayor and Paul quickly caught hold of her and dropped a shelf on top of her. After which he was now free from this trouble. Now they just had to go out. But we could not go through the basement window because a lot of vapors were coming out from there. When we went upstairs, we were shocked to see that steam had transformed the whole house down to its roofs. From here, these people now decide to move forward slowly. But unfortunately, the mayor's foot hits a vapor and he becomes the victim of the vapor. Both of them try to save the mayor, but the vapor was tearing the time mayor apart. The mayor allowed himself to become a victim of this habit so that at least Paul and Shalia's lives could be saved. Now Voss was about to go after them too. But luckily there was a room in front of them. They went inside and closed the door, and for the time being, their lives were saved. But these people also know that they cannot survive for long. For the moment, he was tired. That's why I hid under the table. While talking about these things, these people come very close to each other. But then they realized that a vapor had entered by breaking the door and was about to attack them. But he saved his life by dropping the table above him on the wasp, before these people could do anything. On top of that, the wasp caused a crack in the roof itself. To escape from this, these people go out, and through the steam, they come out of the house through the broken wall. Now he had to go to his van. But how to go? Queen was on top and stamped Paul on the shoulder. She was picking up Paul and taking him upstairs, but Julia broke his sting by beating him. Queen got angry with Julia's action and she picked Julia up and threw her away from there. After which the Queen started leaving from here with Paul. Julia could have saved her life by running away, but Paul's screams were stopping him. The Queen takes Paul and places him where they have kept the other humans. Sydney was also there to take the sting out of Paul's shoulder. Sydney isn't even human yet. That too is a type of wasp. That's why he removed the sting from Paul's shoulder, not to help him, but to torture Paul. Sydney tries to insert a larva that the Queen lays down at this time into Paul. Before he could succeed in his plan, the entry at the back says with an electric saw. First of all, she uses this 100 to cut the wasp present above Sydney and throws it away from her, and with the same 100 she also stops Queen from coming near Paul. Throwing away the larvae, Julia was now coming out with Paul when Queen started following them. But Sydney, now freed from Vast's hold, comes to the duo's aid and grabs Queen from behind. In anger, Queenie stabs Sydney to death. Here both of them had reached the van. He had opened many gas pipes in the house. After which at the end, these people blast the house by lighting a matchstick. And finally, as the house started moving, all the dust present there also got burnt and they felt that now all the trouble was over. But it was not like that. Queen becomes jealous and now goes after them. She had joined the van to kill these people. Paul then shows courage and crashes the car into a tree, killing Queenie as well. Julia's condition had become very bad in this accident. Paul tries to revive her, but assumes Julia is dead when she does not regain consciousness for a long time. When he had given up all hope, Julia opened her eyes and breathed a sigh of relief. In the meantime, rescue and police officers also arrived there and finally rescued both of them. These people finally kiss here and are about to leave from here. Then, suddenly, a huge cow's head falls on an officer and kills him. It is shown from a distance that many huge wasps, which had emerged from the body of the cattle, are now coming to attack them. That is, just like the wasp had created a bigger body inside humans after attacking them. Now it was coming out from inside the cattle like this. And now what was going to happen next?